I recently uploaded all of the conversational quotes on Ashes of the Damned, and there's a lot of interesting ones. If you guys missed out on them, I'll link it on screen right now if you guys want to listen to a full playlist of everything. But what I actually want to talk about is one specifically, and it's a conversation you wouldn't think about too much. And this is a conversation between Dempsey and Weaver of all people. I know, a weird one, but if you've listened to it, you would understand why there's something strange going on there. There's some sort of animosity there that we're not sure is exactly why it's there. But thankfully, the rest of the map and the story has given further context to why this animosity exists. And this is going to be as far reaching as new streaks to side Easter eggs and even cutscenes from the Easter egg. But before we get ahead of ourselves, I want to play you guys the full conversation because it's honestly kind of short, so you guys just to understand exactly what I'm talking about here.
We good, Marine? You keep looking at me like I owe you something.
No problem. I'm good.
Vietnam vet, huh? I never saw that theater. Spend most of my time with Usurer.
Vet? The fuck are you talking about? I still got that jungle stink on me.
Where were you in country?
That's classified, sir. Like you don't already fucking know.
Look, whatever your fucking problem is, stow it. We need to work together or we're not gonna survive this.
Sure, whatever. Just stay out of my fucking way.
And yeah, as you guys could probably tell, Dempsey doesn't like Weaver, and we have no idea why, at least not yet, because on face value, I mean, why shouldn't he like Weaver? Like, from what we know, they're from different universes entirely, so is there a reason why he should be hating some random dude who just does not like the way he looks or something? Well, actually, there's a reason for this, and it's going to go into a lot of different things, but the biggest thing is actually further context given to why Dempsey doesn't like Weaver is through the side Easter egg that we're all calling Dempsey's PTSD. And this side Easter egg, you go to kind of an in-between area and you find some dog tags, and this is where Dempsey starts having some flashbacks, and when he's doing that, we hear this voice that turns out to be the Shadowsmith that we'll fight later in this Easter egg, talking to Dempsey, and he's telling him that he's no hero but instead a deserter, which is weird. But then as you progress through the side Easter egg, you hear that he says that Dempsey left his post, and when he left his post, this got his fellow soldiers killed, his friends killed. But the question is, why would Dempsey ever leave his post without making sure there was someone there to take his place? Well, further in this side Easter egg, it starts to explain this, because we learned that he was approached by none other than Weaver. Yes, the world that Dempsey comes from also has his own Weaver, which kind of makes sense because this version of Dempsey is from the Vietnam War and not World War II or even World War I, and even this version of Weaver actually interacted with Vietnam, which is something that didn't happen with the Weaver that we're familiar with. But then we actually hear why exactly he left his post. And this is because Weaver is the one who poached him from it. He recruited him over to whatever he was doing. And already right there, you can understand the animosity that Dempsey would have for him. Because of him taking him from his post to go do whatever they end up doing, this ended up getting his friends and fellow soldiers killed. And already right there, that answers the animosity question. Why Dempsey doesn't like Weaver. But it gets so much more deeper than that, because if we continue this, we learn that Weaver isn't just a random soldier or even a sergeant. Instead, he's CIA. But not any CIA, a branch of CIA that we are all so familiar with the Cold War story. And that is none other than the Requiem, the group that all of our characters were a part of before everything happened at the end of that and Richtofen went off to do Janus and all of that. But regardless, before that, that's what everyone was a part of. They were a part of Requiem. And it seems like in Dempsey's timeline, there's also a Requiem. And if there's also a Requiem, this means there's probably also the incursions, the zombies, the Dark Ether, all of that in his universe too. And this is exactly what Dempsey gets recruited to do, to be maybe even a part of Requiem, if it's temporary or not, but at least a part of it for now. And this is where they go in still Vietnam to go look for something. And it seems like through this Easter egg, Dempsey really doesn't know what they're doing. But Weaver leads him over to a temple, and he tells him to watch out for him while he's doing whatever he is there, Weaver. And then this is where Dempsey has his first interaction with a zombie, because we hear in the quotes that he says, wait, their eyes are glowing, obviously implying they're zombies. But as we hear this story further unfold, they start to get overran. And when they get overran, this is where Weaver gets desperate, and he goes and talks to Strauss, who is also still a part of Requiem. Whether he's there with them or he's ready with them, we're not entirely sure, but he says, you have to do it. And that is exactly when he does it. And it is revealed that Strauss and Weaver used the disciple injection on Dempsey, seemingly against his will, obviously to save them because they were getting overran by zombies, and it ends up working out. But that is what they did. They used the mutant injection on Dempsey in order to save them all. Then, of course, after they survive all of this, we hear that Dempsey gets a medal for all of this, even though leaving his post got his fellow soldiers and probably friends killed. But at the same time, it was kind of Weaver's fault for all of that. Why didn't he have someone replace his post if he was going to take Dempsey from it? But there's still more to this, because that's the end of the backstory of Dempsey, but there's further context given to this as we progress through the main Easter egg. Because in the main Easter egg, we get a halfway through cutscene and we talk to the entity, and it explains why our characters were brought into this dark ether and why the warden, the cowboy, brought them into this. And what they tell us is that they did it because they interacted with something powerful, something that infused with them even almost, that now the warden wants to take from them, and that's why all of their souls are so valuable. Now, we don't really know exactly what this was for Richtofen, Nikolai, and Takio, but we already knew with the Requiem crew that it was because they interacted with something as powerful as the Sentinel artifact. But what was it with Dempsey? Well, I think we all know by now, and that was none other than the disciple injection. Because he infused with the disciple, something that we know is super powerful in the Dark Ether. I know they're just a special enemy or even an elite enemy in the story so far in the past, but story-wise, they're very powerful. They control a ton of zombies, and infusing with a disciple probably would do exactly that, would infuse some sort of Dark Etherness inside of you. And because of that, that is what the warden was after. That's what the cowboy was after with Dempsey's soul. This is why Dempsey is even in this universe, because of the disciple injection and Weaver and also Strauss using it on Dempsey. That is why he's even here to begin with. And if Dempsey didn't already have enough reasons to hate Weaver because of getting his fellow soldiers killed, but now on top of that, it's Weaver's fault that he was even brought into the Dark Ether to begin with. So yeah, I now understand why Dempsey has that animosity towards Weaver, even though it's obviously a different version. I mean, at the same time, you're just a different version of the same person that did that to me. And that's going to wrap it up for this video, and I'd love to hear all of you guys' thoughts, theories, and ideas about everything to do with this, because this is a really fun one. But hey, if you guys do that, I'd appreciate if you guys could show some support on the channel by dropping a like, subscribe, bell, sharing, all that great stuff. But with that said, I'm gonna go, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.